the Fringe is really like and at the risk of sounding big-headed, I would say it's like returning to the Shaolin Temple.
I know.
To upgrade.
Yeah.
For you to training, you know.
Yeah.
So we go to Edinburgh Fringe. It's really a boot camp. It's a boot camp for stand-up comedians. I don't think any other art form benefits from the Fringe as much as stand-up comedians, because you do benefit, don't get me wrong, but you only are doing your one show only every day. So if you're a musical, you go there and you just produce your musical every day for the Fringe or for the festival, and that's it. That's all you do. Maybe on the off days or on the off hours, you're flyering or you're giving interviews or whatever. You're maybe participating in the podcast or something like that.
Yeah.
But stand-up, you can actually be part of a lot of ad hoc shows, because all you have to do is just show up and know people and show up.
Yeah.
And have your material ready, of course.
Damn.
Yeah.
I caught all that. Okay, that's good. That is definitely what I want to use for the opening of this episode. Hello there, Clapperheads, and welcome to a very new edition of a very new show that we are calling On the Comfy Chair, where we talk to people within the industry, find out their origin stories, and just have a very, very casual conversation. And our very first guest is, of course, a very special stand-up comedian. His name is Rizal van Geyzel.
Oh, nice. Oh, I like you gave me a van.
Yes.
Is
that the correct word?
I mean, van, right? I mean,
I thought I'd be a bit more, niche, like van.
No. My family, my dad's from Port Dickson.
I was going to ask, for people that don't know, where does a Van Geyzel come from?
Dutch burgers.
Dutch. I thought it's
but Dutch burgers.
Oh, but I thought like you were making a joke of like burgers.
No.
Oh,
Dutch
really?
burgers. I know it sounds like a cheap McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
No, Dutch burgers. They are inhabitants from the former Ceylon, from the colonial nation of Ceylon.
Okay.
For 200 years, they inhabited Ceylon, what is current day Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So they coined the term Dutch burgers. They integrated into the locals there. So they became Dutch. But burger, B-E-R-G-E-R, is actually, I'm not sure from what language, I think it might be Ceylonese,
okay,
which means inhabitants. In other words, pendatang.
Okay.
So Dutch pendatang.
So you are an offshoot of all that pendatang.
Yes. So maybe some of them, I don't know, hopped on a ship to come to Malaysia. Maybe after 200 years in Ceylon, they're like, okay, we're going to go to Malaysia now. Okay. And maybe, my great-great-great-great-grandfather was like, I want to come, have a change of scenery. And then one thing led to another, and there you go.
Now you're here.
Now, yeah, I'm here.
Actually, that brings me to my very first question, actually, talking about your childhood and how you came about to be a stand-up comedian. Now, I read that when you were 8 years old, you rode to school in your dad's Jeep, and that was when the first time you found out the word of pelawak.
Yes.
And you were asking, what is pelawak?
Yeah.
Was that when you decided this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah. I always felt the need to say something or do something to make the classroom or the bus or anywhere laugh, or anywhere, any gathering. I would feel like there's too much tension here. Something needs to pop.
Yeah.
Every day I would try something new or do something. And then, I asked the bus driver, like, bus Melayu apa? Comedian apa? And then the guy said, pelawak. I was like, okay. And I remember thinking, I would like to do this for a living.
You're talking about like making kids laugh and whatnot. I did also see that you quoted films, like your favorite comedy films and whatnot. Is that true?
So, I would watch a movie. I would watch something funny, and then I would impersonate. I would mimic. My memory is that good, I guess.
Understood. Like, is there any film that you could still quote by heart? Like lines you could still quote by heart?
I am so out of practice.
I'm like putting you on the spot at this point.
A little bit, but I should be used to it, right? I'm so out of practice, but I used to memorize almost verbatim the first Austin Powers. The first one.
Okay.
And I remember it was like our brain rot. It was my brain rot in the 90s, you know.
Austin
the first
Powers.
Austin Powers. The first one.
I think for our generation, that was always going to be our brain rot. That's something that sticks with us. And I mean, as children or like, teenagers, that wasn't exactly the film we were meant to watch, by right?
No, we were not supposed to watch that.
But somehow we did.
Yeah, we did.
I still remember I had an Austin Powers watch, and I was 11 years old. And every time when the alarm goes off, I kid you not, it was, oh yeah, baby. I was like, there was one time it set off in school. I was so embarrassed at that point. All the kids were like, "Apa ni?" But coming onto your stand-up, before you really took up stand-up full-time, you were working in the hotel industry for about 5 years in Miami.
Well, I graduated from university in Miami for hospitality management, and then I worked there for about a year, and then after that I came home and I took on a job in a hotel chain, a local hotel chain, and for about 5 years, I think.
Was that something that you wanted to do, or was that like, I had to appease my parents, I have to get like a proper job?
No, I chose to do it. Yeah. I after SPM I went to work in F&B, and I had good, and I learned this word then, interpersonal skills. So I could talk to people. I could sell them stuff or turn a complaint around. I had that knack for, I guess, I was very much a people pleaser lah.
Okay.
And so natural at it that I wanted to do that as a profession. So that's why that got me into hotel school.
Did it give you the added advantage of learning how to deal with hecklers as well? Because I mean, in F&B, you always have to deal with, they're going to be those nice customers, there's going to be those terrible customers as well. So in terms of like what we were talking about earlier, like say crowd work and whatnot, was that in a sense training to get to where you were able to do crowd work?
Not really. Because when you're dealing with complaints as a hotelier, you have to, I don't know what the English word is, beralah. You must beralah to the customer. The customer is always right.
Okay.
Right? Whereas in stand-up, the customer is not always right. Because the person who knows comedy the most in a room, in any stand-up, is the person on stage. So we take the power away from the customer. That's why it's interesting. Hotel management, because I'm such a people pleaser, I want to serve people and make them happy, right?
Yeah.
Which is essentially when you look at the very basic level of live comedy performing, it is to do that. Yeah, you want to make the world laugh, you want to enjoy. But the contradiction happens when you well, the customer is always right in F&B, but in stand-up, shut the up. Recently I started sharing, sorry, can I swear? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
you're going to
fine.
believe that? I don't want to give you an editing nightmare. Having to be part of it.
I just believe it, that's fine.
Okay, so when you deal with hecklers, sometimes it depends on what kind of hecklers really. Usually the ones in Malaysia, they don't realize they're heckling. They're just talking to their friends out loud. They're talking about, they're giving commentary on what they just heard. Oh yeah, do you remember when that happened to us? Next thing you know, that chatter becomes so loud, it starts to annoy people around them. And then you have to tell them nicely to keep quiet. Usually they're like, oh, so sorry. And then they'll keep quiet, right? There are a few tricks of how to do that. And then you have the heckler that wants to be part of the show, that wants to chime in. Usually if they're sober, they're easy to deal with. When they're under influence, they're tough because they got really thick skin and they just keep going and going and going and going. In those instances, the whole rule book of how to deal with complaints is out the window.
Okay, now that we've talked about hecklers, we're talking about stand-up. I mean, we can't have you on the show without talking about possibly one of the biggest achievements that you've made, as well as what you've contributed to the stand-up scene in general, which is co-founding the Cry House Comedy Club way back in 2014. I was so amazed that Malaysia has a stand-up comedy club like that. That felt unheard of at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong, were you the first?
Yeah.
You were the first, and then Harith came second.
Harith came second, and then another comedy entity came third. I was the first to open, and might I even say, but not the first to get shut down. So yeah, we were the first, 2014. There was no full-time, purpose-built stand-up comedy club. There were pop-up shows before that. We would borrow theaters or restaurants or pubs, and we would always have to fight the elements. Loud TV playing, showing the football, or people playing snooker in the back, or people just not knowing the etiquette or how to behave. So we built a stand-up comedy club to cultivate a live comedy culture in both the performance side, to learn how to be better comedians, and also in the audience on how to behave accordingly, how to watch a comedy show, feed the audience, feed the public different shades of comedy. Because, people think a lot of people still think that the comedy selection is limited to, for example, Russell Peters. He's a great comedian. But that's not the only type of stand-up there is.
Yes.
And that's what Crack House was. It was, some called it an institution. Where
I would say that too.
Yeah. Maybe add mental in the beginning, but otherwise, we had comedians that even I were so lucky to have seen that, and to see styles that I would otherwise have never got to see had I not opened that club. We had one-liner comedians, we've had deadpan comedians, we've had musical comedians, prop comedians with magic, which I've never been exposed to. Otherwise, would have never been exposed to if it not been for the Crack House.
I was so proud when I saw that Daryl O'Brien, he's one of my favorite stand-up comedians, and they were shooting that show where they went around Soundpiece Stage, and the one spot they took was Crack House Comedy Club. And when I saw that on the show, I was like, Malaysia. I know this place.
Daryl O'Brien and Ed Burns.
Yes.
They popped down. Well. They were on their way to, they were doing the travel documentary, right? We had a show that night. So we did the interview in the club, and they were asking us about the comedy scene and stuff and so forth. And then we had a show that night, and then we just asked them, would you guys want to stick around and maybe do a spot? And they were like, well, sure. We were like, oh my God, we can't believe we're getting Daryl O'Brien and Ed Burns on our stage. Because, we ran shows every night. That night, we had 25 people come. It wasn't our biggest audience. And also the most lackluster 25 people who have no idea who Daryl O'Brien is, didn't even know who we were. These people came, I don't know, maybe the cycle of many audiences coming and going. They just come for the experience. So they were quite a tight crowd. We were struggling. And this is before Daryl and Ed were going on, and we were like, oh my God, they're seeing us struggle. How bad do they think we are, And then Ed Burns goes up, and bless him, great comedian, great guy. I met him in Edinburgh 3 years ago. Absolutely ate a bag of poop.
Well,
he died a horrendous death. It was like 10 minutes. He just couldn't get a laugh in. And to see Ed Burns, but that's stand-up comedy,
Yeah, it is.
No other art form can humble you like that. You can be at the top of your game,
but you can still bomb.
Ronnie Cheng popped in and did a ad hoc spot at Crack House. And he also didn't do well.
He bombed.
Phew. And he was so apologetic about it. I remember seeing him off at the stairwell going down. He was like, I'm so sorry, I was trying out new material, I didn't know. I said, Ronnie, it's all right. You're not, don't worry about it, man. You're welcome anytime, man. You're Ronnie Cheng, no worries,
Yeah, I mean, look at him now.
Yeah.
Was this before The Daily Show? Or
It's before The Daily Show. No, wait. Is it? No. It was just when he just started The Daily Show.
Okay. But I think that's the volatile nature of stand-up comedy, is that you may think, and correct me if I'm wrong, you may think you have the best set possible, and then you go and deliver it, and it's a complete bomb.
Yeah.
How do you deal with something like that? Something that you feel is great, but then the audience goes, yeah, maybe not.
You move on, I guess.
Move on.
We have this thing, I think UK comedians, Zoe, I might be pronouncing her name wrong, Zoe Lyons or Zoe Lyons.
Okay.
She wrote this rule called the 11 a.m. rule.
Okay.
So you're allowed to talk about the gig you did last night whether it was glorious or it was horrendous. Either way, you're allowed to talk about it until 11 a.m. the next morning. After that, you have to move on. So if you smashed and you killed, you can gloat about it as much as you want. I own that room. They were eating out of my hands. Oh, they were throwing underwear at me, whatever. But once 11 a.m. the next day, you gotta shut up about it.
Okay.
Similarly, if you died a horrible death, if you bombed, you can wallow in your sorrows. You can be sad about it, and until 11 o'clock the next day, and after that you got to move on, back to the drawing board. Try again.
That actually feels like a good lesson to learn, not only for stand-up comedy but for life in general. Like
Yeah,
things get you down, just hold on to it. 11 a.m. let it go.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, of course, speaking of Crack House, I think it would be amiss if we didn't talk about what happened to Crack House, unfortunately. Totally not a fault of your own. Like, when I saw that news, I'll be honest, I was a little bit pissed off, because I was like, why did you have to do this? Like, why did you have to bring someone, not only a club down, but someone's business down, just by one simple indecent act? I just wanted to ask, in that moment when this happened, how were you feeling, and how did you not only bounce back as a stand-up comedian, but as a person? I can imagine it's incredibly traumatic, incredibly stressful to go through all that.
It was very scary. It was quite real at the time. You're bringing back some of the trauma.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's
Sorry.
okay. It's okay. There's so much. There's still so much to digest from that. But there's good and bad, you know. I appreciate what you said, that it wasn't my fault. But also, I kind of saw it coming.
Okay.
But not on that scale. When I started performing from open mic nights in 2010, from those nights at Time Out as Underground, right?
Yeah.
Velvet Underground, I knew that you rock the boat enough, it will tip over.
Okay.
And especially the jokes I was making, where we were punching up, you know, punching up to government, to the elite, right? We were punching up. Sooner or later, I'm gonna get some backlash.
Okay.
But I didn't think that it would be front page. I thought it would be like maybe third page, column number 4 in the corner there. You know how where comedians usually end up.
Yeah.
You know, whether for, the drugs or whatever, they usually get a small little article in the third page, fourth page there, a comedian did something bad, whatever. But that was quite a scale I did not expect. The culprits that you mentioned, who brought it down, that's where I would put the word mental before institution. They have some problems on their own. Now let's leave it at that.
It was kind of clear.
And it was unfortunate that only after they had done what they had done, I started to hear the rumors about a couple going around to F&B establishments and causing disturbance. One of which came from Merdekaria, from Brian Gomez. But by the time it reached me, I already told Brian they had already come ready to my place and they had performed. And I told them that they're not allowed to come back in capacity as a performer again because they look like they're not there to be funny. They're there to do something else, and it's a bit suspicious, Unfortunately, what they had already recorded, what was done, that hijab removal thing was already recorded, so they had that. I guess I didn't think that it would blow up as much as it did. I woke up one morning and I had a ton of messages from people I never heard of asking me is this your place? Is this your place? And I looked at it and I saw the video and I immediately went, oh, now it's going to happen. The backlash now it's going to happen. But it was happening on a scale that I never thought it would. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Surprisingly, considering that I got picked up, I got arrested by the cops in my house in front of my kids. I got the place vandalized. I got the municipal council shut it down, license revoked, a ton of hate speech on my social media, my personal page directly. Considering all that, I was actually really calm, I found myself being like I used to get more anxiety when the drinks delivery was not on time, you know? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I used to get really, the customers are coming, you know? Or, you know, the sound system was messing up during a show, and I used to get a lot of there's a lot of stress when you run an F&B business. Somehow, what the thought process was, but I just remember, of course there was fear. But deep down, I just knew that it's going to be all right. I don't know where it came from. I mean, of course, you know, now I know where it came from now because, you know, Ilahi, you know. But that was a turning point in my life. And I don't mean to get all weird about it, but
No, please.
everything you say, every thought you say can be what we call dua, you know?
Yes, mashallah.
I remember just a few months before all that happened, I wanted to get out of it. I wanted it to end. I was like, this is nice, but I'm tired. I got friends going to Edinburgh Fringe. I got friends going to Melbourne Comedy Festival. I got friends doing solos. I wanted to do that. I'm a comedian first.
Yeah.
And running the Crack House was great. I was being exposed to a world of comedy that I would never have been exposed to. But I wanted it to stop. I wanted to just be a comedian. And then there you go. So you could say that we closed the book on that chapter with a bang.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's good and bad. I wouldn't say it's entirely bad. There was some good that came out of what had happened. I mean, I guess it's a great excuse. It's a legendary excuse to shut down a comedy club.
Yeah. Like, what a way to go.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
And it will always remain in infamy. Like, everyone will remember the Crack House Comedy Club.
Yeah, and I wrote a good show about it. Well, don't take my word for it. Take the 4-star review I got from Edinburgh in 2023, you know.
Speaking of Edinburgh Fringe Festival, right after this, we're going to be talking about that and a little bit more of backstory on stand-up comedy. So stay tuned right after this. So, talking about Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is, for a performer, one of the pinnacles of your career, going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It's such a prestigious festival. For our viewers out there, if you don't know, Edinburgh's in Scotland. Geography. But this is the second time you've gone to Edinburgh. And now you're bringing your show, Arrested and Single Fatherhood. Can you just tell us a little bit about what Arrested and Single Fatherhood is about and how that all came about?
Arrested is about, well, what the title suggests. It's about me being arrested for I guess, being the proprietor of a comedy club that was under scrutiny and being persecuted. But more so for uploading clips of me performing jokes about my Muslim background. So, but it covers that and also my journey in becoming a comedian and eventually being a co-proprietor of the first comedy club in Malaysia and then how it got shut down and what I have come to learn from it. So that's it. That's Arrested.
Does the nerves feel easier going a second time around? Or you're still probably as nervous as you were the first time around?
It feels easier because the show has been tried and tested. It's been written and polished. The first time around, I'll be honest, I'm a very last minute guy, you know. Like I need deadlines to give me that sense of urgency.
Yeah.
So I literally went into Edinburgh with a half-assed script.
Okay.
And I mean, I knew that I have a story and I have jokes, I have quips about it, but I think until the 5th day, because you perform every day from the first day, I think it was like August 3rd until August 27th in 2023. So for the first 5 days, I was working on the show while I was performing it. Because I'm that kind of performer, you know.
Okay.
I cannot sit down in my study or my desk and write. I must be on stage and work it out. Either I have a premise and I'm looking for a punchline, or I have a punchline and I'm trying to work the premise up, trying to build that tension up before the punchline hits.
Okay.
So I had these bunch of stories about, circulating around me being a comedian, opening up the comedy club and how I got arrested. I have it all. But how do I make it cohesive? So I was working it out. The first day, it was just jokes. So people come in, they would enjoy the show. But as a writer, you want it polished.
Yes.
On the 5th day, I think I already got it.
Okay.
That's why you go to Edinburgh, man. You really chuchi, you wash out. You put it to a filter, you put it to the test. On the 6th day, a reviewer came in. I was
Okay.
so lucky that they did not come in for the first 5 days. Because they would have heard a good show, but it's like I wouldn't be proud of the final product. The 6th day, the reviewer came in and gave me a very positive review. I performed it many times after that. So I'm not as nervous I'm more excited, not so much anxiety in performing it because I know how to perform it.
And how different are the crowds there as compared to, say, back here?
Very international crowd, of course. There will be 1 or 2 days when you get a big Malaysian contingent. The Edinburgh Malaysian Students Association, and they will come out and support. But they come for like 1 or 2 days. You are there for 25 days or around there.
Yeah.
The best thing about the Edinburgh Fringe is that this from people all over the world. I wouldn't compare it to people in Malaysia. Malaysia, you get a bunch of locals and a few expats. Okay? I would compare it to the Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Okay.
So these two are perhaps ranking the 2 biggest comedy festivals in the world. Okay?
Yeah.
Edinburgh Fringe and then Melbourne Comedy Festival. Melbourne Comedy Festival can be a very tough crowd.
Okay.
Very tough crowd because the Melbourne Comedy Festival are attended by Melburnians who are, I want to say, spoiled or jaded by comedy because it's accessible to them.
There's so much of it.
So much.
Yeah.
So for them, you are like, comedy is like another Tuesday night.
It's almost like, prove to me that you can make me laugh.
Yeah, they've seen it all, they've heard it all. So you gotta bring something very unique.
Okay.
So that's Melbourne, which has good and bad. The good is that you learn to be a better comedian. The bad is that you sometimes question life's choices, and you have to. There's a lot of mental anxiety. The Edinburgh Fringe. They're not from Edinburgh. Not some of them are from, but most of the people in Edinburgh, they leave Edinburgh and they lease out their condominiums to Airbnb. For people coming in.
They want a better life outside of Edinburgh.
Yeah. And it feels like the whole world is flocking there.
Yeah.
And it's their busiest time of the year. So Edinburgh people, Edinburghians, I don't know what you call it, they leave Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And everywhere else gets there, and they are there to celebrate art. So when you get an audience, you feel such a warm love and acceptance. Like, we are here to celebrate you.
Yeah, they're more accepting in that sense.
They're more accepting.
They're not like, look, it may be great, it may be bad, but we're here to support.
Yes, there is that vibrance in the air.
I mean, okay, as Malaysian stand-up comedians, or even like, whichever country you're from, your native country, you can localize your jokes very much so.
Yes.
Was there a lot of tweaking to sort of like, okay, how do I say this particular localized joke, but for an Edinburgh crowd?
We have to judge which material is worth dissecting for an international crowd.
Okay.
So there are some jokes that, yes, you must be Malaysian to understand some of the references, like whether it's a shot at, Klang being high crime. You just replace Klang with Glasgow.
Okay,
And then they get it. They get it. But there are some much more deeper topics regarding our society that is it worth them knowing? Sometimes it's all about just adding an extra line at the top, to just give the joke a bit more context. We undervalue some of the things that we talk about here when we go abroad. I think we can. Why not? Why can't we share our diversity in the international crowd?
Yeah.
When I went to Melbourne, I got that because what do comedians do? Talk about what they know, talk about who they are.
Yes.
Right? And so if I can't talk about my Malaysian upbringing and have it to be understood by a crowd from outside Malaysia, then what else am I going to bring to the table? Of course, you can talk about things that would translate easier, like family. If you make fun of your mother-in-law, everybody gets that.
Yeah.
Right? But then again, that's hack.
Yeah.
Everybody has that story.
Yeah.
what is it about you that makes you unique?
Yes.
You know, we have a strong cultural identity that can be shared with the world, really. I know it sounds very corny. I'm just starting to write this new bit of material about how our diversity is unique from the rest. Because if you go to Indonesia, if you go to Thailand, yes, they have multi-races there, but they all sound the same.
Ah, yes.
Chinese people and Indian people in Indonesia all sound Indonesian.
But
if you go to Thailand, Chinese, Indian, they all sound Thai. And it's weird to see an Indian person speak in a Thai accent because it sounds a bit emasculating. But Malaysians, the Chinese and the Indians, and any other races as well, they retain their identity.
Yeah, they have their own specific accent.
Yes. And that's very unique. And why can't we talk about that?
Now, I just want to rewind a little bit to your first time at Edinburgh Fringe Festival. How did that happen for you?
I mean, anybody can sign up for it. It's literally open.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just have to open. Yeah, you just got to register and pay the registration fee.
There's no like vetting
book
process
a venue.
or whatnot.
It has no vetting program.
Oh, okay.
Anyone can do it.
Okay.
Anyone can do it. Sorry to burst the bubble.
Yeah, I always had this notion that, you have to be the tip top to get into Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
It's the free fringe.
Guys, anybody can go to Fringe. Go do it.
You know, if you want to have your dreams broken, go do it. That's the one of the good things about running Crack House Comedy Club is I was connected to a global network of comedians from all over the world. So if you go to any stand-up comedy scene from Australia to the UK to even America, and you talk about Kuala Lumpur, comedians will say, "Oh, isn't that where that club got shut down?"
See, I told you, Crack House remains in infamy.
And and Edinburgh Fringe is always considered as, the risk of sounding blasphemous, the mecca for stand-up.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go. I've had friends always every year, the comedians that we would host in Crack House, either they were on their way to Melbourne or they were on their way to Edinburgh, and we would be like the stopover. They would stop by and then go off to the other side of to a different continent. I've always wanted to do it. I've heard about it, and there were a few comedians that have done it by then. Kavin J was one of them, and I think that's it. I think so far only me and Kavin J are the two comedians that have survived Edinburgh.
Okay.
Yeah. It's quite brutal lah. You can do 100 shows in that whole month. I think last year they recorded almost 4,000 shows happening, 4,000 shows in that whole month.
Yeah.
Over, I don't know, hundreds of venues.
Because it's from morning until night. There's just shows every other hour.
That's right. We would do like kid-friendly shows at 10 a.m. Yeah, no swearing.
How is that?
No swearing.
No swearing at all.
No swearing, no talking about, dirty stuff.
But they faham the jokes or not?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You'd be surprised. I was nervous when my producer in 2023 was like, "Hey, I've signed you up. You're going to host the PG Hits. It's a comedy show that you're allowed to bring your children. So no swearing, no talking about it." And I didn't want to do it. I was like, "Oh man, I came to Scotland because I want to be myself. I want to curse. I want to talk about But I did it. It was very addictive, very, very addictive.
Really?
Yeah, because it really brings you back to what do children really like? They just, it's so much fun. I started, because I'm a dad too, I guess that kind of helps as well, right? My mantra was, don't be boring.
Okay.
That's
a good mantra to have.
Yeah. I did it once, and the next thing I told my producer, can I do it again? It was such a good practice.
Wow.
Such a good practice. Mind you, these are Mak Saleh children lah.
Do you think it would translate over to our children here?
And that might be, I think the only thing that will make it difficult is the language barrier.
Okay.
Because Malaysian children are learning two or three different languages simultaneously.
Yeah.
So, actually, I can't really say. I've never done it here. But
always an opportunity.
Yeah. It was really fun, man. It was really fun. You basically perform for the adults in front of the children, and sometimes, you can perform for the kids. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
So are we going to start seeing you perhaps do birthday parties from there?
Wouldn't that be something? Rizal van Geyzel available for children's parties.
Hey, anything can happen these days, Actually, speaking of which, kind of a bit more casual topic, what's the weirdest gig that you've done?
Oh, of course. In the beginning, we have done gigs that we were not, we had no business doing, outdoor festivals. People are walking up and down, just talking into a mic,
They'll probably see one joke and leave.
Yeah. We've done, the shopping mall, the shopping mall. Yeah. Imagine a shopping mall, you're just talking and then trying to get people. Yeah.
No one's paying attention.
No one's paying attention. Yeah. And I would advise this for any comedians trying to learn. Take as much gigs as you can, even though they're unconducive. Take as much as you can, because at the point where you're just starting up, you're not risk of damaging any sort of image. You want the experience.
Yeah.
Go and get that experience. Get that pain in your stomach and really make you like, oh, why is this so hard? Get it.
You need to go through that struggle to get to to sound blasphemous, the promised land. Has any royals come up to you to approach you to do like a birthday gig for them?
No, but I have performed in front of the royal family, the Sultan of Selangor, at the Rotarian Rotary Night event, and the Princess of Johor. She was at the. I was at the Johor Baru Arts Festival, which doesn't happen anymore. It was curated by the late Miss, I'm not sure what her name eludes me now, but she was a legendary lady.
Sorry?
Anyway, so the Princess of Johor, she attended the show with her Dutch husband.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were lovely. They were lovely.
Nice.
Yeah. They had a better seating arrangement and lighting than the performers did.
They are royals at the end of the day.
Yeah. They were fun. I couldn't help but point out my Malay and Dutch
I was just about to ask,
background. And some of my Malay side comes from Johor. My mom's from Batu Pahat.
Oh, so even more relations.
I said to Her Highness and her husband, if you're thinking of making children, just let you know what might come out.
And they probably go, maybe not lah.
Yeah, we'll pass.
So to get a bit on a controversial topic, everyone now talks about, in terms of stand-up comedy, Saudi. If Saudi were to come calling, would you take that on? Oh, you would?
Okay. So you're referring to the recent Riyadh Comedy Festival?
Yeah.
It's
a gig.
It's a gig. It's a gig. If you want to bring up as the whole, it's dirty money and all that, I would take a page from Chappelle's book. Dave Chappelle also commented on it. And I agree with what he said. Where is this clean money that you speak of?
Yeah.
If I were to get paid by an American comedy entity to perform in the US, I would also take them as well. And their money is no different.
Not any cleaner than
as
Yeah.
What are you really being complicit of, really? Because I think that the good outweighs the bad. The good can outweigh the bad.
And you're there to perform and give laughter to their people.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So would you have faulted Psy for performing? Psy, the Korean.
When he came out to perform for BN, is it? You see, I can't fault that also. A lot of people were complaining, but I'm like, did you enjoy the performance? Yes. Were you happy that Psy was here? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay lah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough,
you got invited by BN.
I don't think comedians should take sides in politics.
No.
We are supposed to poke holes, and we cannot take sides.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you are basically saying what we all feel, what we wish we could say. You're just doing it on a much bigger platform.
Yeah.
Now, to slowly close this off, I'm going to come back to that 8-year-old Rizal van Geyzel in the back of the truck with his dad, learning about Pelawak.
No, it was in the
Army Jeep.
Army Jeep, yeah.
Yes. If that little boy could see what you've built today and the man that you've become today, what do you think he would have said?
Oh, wow.
It's a bit deep, I know.
That's quite deep, yeah. Perhaps...
Welcome to the psychiatry session.
I want to say, this is now turning into the therapy now. What would the 8-year-old say to me now? What would the 8-year-old say to me now?
Yeah.
Take care of your hair, lah. Or maybe that's me talking to my 8-year-old, take care of your hair. It will slowly, resist.
But if he could see what you have done, where you finally made it as Apa lawak?
I don't see how I would not be happy with it. But I don't want to get too content because there's always more work to be done.
True.
You know, I don't want to say like, you know, because the work should never be finished.
Nah.
Yes, we ought to be our own role models. You know, we ought to achieve to be who we would like to be in the future. Maybe in that sense, perhaps the 8-year-old should be like, you can do better. Yeah, do better lah.
That's a good way of
look
putting it.
around at my life. Oh, condominium okay.
Not mentioned.
Oh, driving Proton think can do better lah. Do better, you know.
Now, last but not least, tell us when you're going to be in Edinburgh.
My shows run from the 6th of August right until the 30th of August.
Okay.
Every day at a venue called the Counting House, 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock respectively.
So all the Malaysians in Edinburgh, go support your local stand-up
All the
comedian.
Malaysians, all 50 of you.
Go.
Or there's
go.
more, I don't know.
And don't complain mahal. Just
Or even
go.
if you're in London or any part of the UK, just fly, take a train.
I know there's a huge Malaysian society in London.
there you
Go.
go.
Not far.
There you go.
Dekat je.
Enjoy the train ride. Beautiful train ride.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Rizal.
Thanks, man.
Now,
Thanks
if
for
people
having
want
me.
to find you on Instagram or whatnot, what's your handles?
Rizal van Geyzel. Rizal van Geyzel, RIZALVANGEYZEL on all the platforms.
As always, you can check us out on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, YouTube and Threads, because, you know, we're trying that out. It seems to be working. At ClapperCorn.
Why not?
Thank you so much for watching. I have been Nate Dorian. He has been Rizal van Geyzel. Take care and keep watching the movies.